Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hi folks, and thanks for joining in. I'm excited to introduce our guest today, Mr. Jon Ulicney. I've known Jon, had the honor to know Jon for quite some time, and his expertise has played a huge role in bringing us Studio 3B. You know, you were here when it was the ag slag floor, and back in November, and here we are getting ready, you know, to introduce this to the world, and you've helped bring it to life here at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. So Jon, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I'm doing great.
Doing good?
Yeah,
Keeping busy?
Always busy, yeah, every day.
Okay, so for those of you that have been following along with the studio's progress, you've probably seen Jon a few times, and he's been the contractor behind the scenes of this build out. Jon, a little background on you. How long have you been in the business?
40 years, or I would think my dad had me working on the job when I was probably 14 years old. Or
so
15.
Your father was the influencer?
Yes, he was, and my father-in-law.
You know, that's cool, and that kind of answers, you know, how you got started into this, and I know you're very involved in the community, and you know, when you started out into this, going back 40 years, 30 years, up till today, and myself being in the lumber side of things with Baird's over the years, we've seen a lot of change.
Right.
And what, looking back, just is there anything that comes to mind that has changed the most?
That's a hard question.
A lot has changed.
A lot has changed.
A lot
right.
has changed. You know, we talk about, in your case, the materials you work with,
right? The
tools, the equipment you work with.
That's been a big change.
Right. And just our consumer base, your consumer base have changed. They've become more educated.
Correct.
And so that's part of, you know, that's part of this whole process with Studio 3B is we want to educate people. We want to educate people about yourself and fellow contractors in the area. We want to introduce them to our product line and the availability of that product. But, you know, I'm just thinking back, what's changed here at Baird Brothers? Did you ever?
Yeah, well, Baird Brothers has been a big influence for us because the materials. I remember when I first started coming out, your dad you would order your lumber and your dad would meet you at the door and hand it to you and you'd be gone. But now we have so much to choose from. I mean, when you walk into a showroom and you're able to see all the different floors and the different crown molds, and an example would be this studio. Okay. That's one of the things that have changed.
There you go. That leads me into my next question perfectly. You know, who would have ever thought, yourself, me, that through this COVID situation, this pandemic, we were looking for something to do, and we landed a project, an idea in Studio 3B here at Baird Brothers, you know, right here on Corey Road in Canfield.
Right.
We have a working studio, and what did you think when we invited you out and said, hey, Jon, we've got a little idea. We want to build a studio on site at the facility here.
I just thought it was great. It was a great idea because especially with the products that you have, it's a great way to introduce the products. It's a great way to show how they're installed and reach. And that's the biggest change. The consumer has so much available to them just looking on YouTube. When they go out to the job, they can know as much as you know just by studying and learning the things that are available, videos and stuff.
So, and you know, from day one, I think it's just because of where we're at in our lives.
Right.
we addressed this project as, and you remember me telling you, I hope, the first time we walked in this building, I said, John, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and it has been fun.
And it has been, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've enjoyed this, and if in your instance, if house building could go as smooth as this has gone,
oh yeah,
you know, we'd be gold, right? So, are you look around, you've been here, you spent hundreds of hours in here. What do you think? Are you happy with the finished product?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more. I am.
We've spent hours together, talking, discussing. You did you job site built the cabinet boxes, and we built the doors, and you built the drawer boxes, and that went off without a hitch. And then we did the countertops, and then we started talking about ceiling treatments, and we had this canvas to work with, and we got together and we started some sketches, and then we started some mock build-ups, and I'm thrilled with the way it's turned out. I hope you feel the same, because it really reflects your craftsmanship.
Well, it reflects your ability to decorate and to decide what we needed here, because you were a driving force in this and deciding what we're going to use, and
that was part of the fun.
That was the fun for me, because I didn't have to worry about that. I just had to figure out how to do it.
That was part of the fun, and you know what? Now that we're starting to use it, and it's really it's getting its legs underneath itself, and it's becoming an asset. You know, we have our sales guys bringing people back and showing it to them, and they want to see a crown baseboard assembly, we have it. They want to see a hardwood floor, we have it. They want to see this beautiful live edge white oak, or not live edge, excuse me, live sawn white oak nickel gap siding, we have it. Cabinet doors, retrofits, we'll build your cabinets, bring the opening size. It's the whole thing has really become a fun little area. The family comes back. They'll bring friends back to show it to them, because they have friends building homes or doing remodeling. And, let's walk back and take a look and show you what we did back there. And speaking of the family, I know you've been involved in your father probably. How long have you been involved with the Baird family? And you've done numerous projects for the family
since probably the late 70s, and I started off with Dick Baird, who this was his building. He used to store stuff in it. It was for his honey and different things, and but we were just young. I was very young then, and he's had a big project going in his house, and we started there, and then you went from that brother to the next brothers, and then to the next brothers, and then their kids, the kids. We built houses for the kids, and it's been a pleasure working for them, because they're probably the best I've ever worked for in my life.
And don't limit yourself to the Baird family. I know that's been an important part, and it's a fantastic relationship, and we're both fortunate to be afforded to say, here guys, make it nice. And that's how they approach this studio. And so, but that said, over the years, I know you've been involved in some really special projects throughout the Mahoning Valley. Looking back, does one stick out that says, man, that was some of the best work we've done? And, tell me about it.
I have a lot of projects, a lot of different ones that I've just really enjoyed, but this is one of the ones that I'm going to say that I'm glad that I worked on.
No, you don't have to say that, John.
That's what I want to say. I'm really glad I worked on, because this one I can look back and I know that then people will be seeing your work for a long time. It'll be on video. It'll be just here. People will come back when they're looking for lumber, and they'll look at your work.
And that's the whole premise of why this was able to come to life. I know you're an accomplished carpenter, and we've had discussion with some of the antiques that we're introducing here, and the fact that you still use some of that early mid 1800s, late 1800s equipment in. You're not only a carpenter, whether it be framing homes, trimming houses out, installing hardwood floor, whatever. You take your passion one step further, and you're an accomplished woodworker, furniture maker, and I know one of your loves is building guitars. Tell us a little bit about your guitar building.
I just started actually not too long ago. I've just had it in my mind that I wanted to build a guitar, and I love working in the shop because that's where I started at. I think that's my best time, is being like, 13 years old out there and, building something with your dad. It was just a great time. But I built, this is one that I'm working on, and I was having problems with the finish. I just brought it out to show you. But
go ahead.
This
bring
actually, I used a lot of older tools to make this, because this lumber just came locally. This was actually some pieces from Baird Brothers here, and this was a curly maple that was a lady had over on New Buffalo Road, which is pretty close. And I hand planed it all down with a big planer and sawed it and made it into.
So what am I looking at? I'm looking at 4 or 5 different species of wood on that instrument.
Yeah. You have a red spruce. This is old growth red spruce.
Look at the growth lines on that. When you
tight
say old growth red spruce,
see how close and straight they are.
Yeah, beautiful.
And you have the curly maple, and I bound it. I had some just newer maple. You can see the difference between this older maple and this was just some curly maple that was I got from Baird's. This is some cherry here, so you have a little bit of cherry there. Another curly maple. But it's kind of fun to build in spruce braces that you just make your braces. But this is just a whole hobby of mine right now. And
you can't get enough of the sawdust.
No, I can't. I enjoy that.
That's good. That's good, Johnny.
But you don't go. You keep yourself moving. You keep your mind. You challenge yourself, and you figure ways to build it, how to put it together, and that's the fun part. So
just like in your guitar building.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's important to you because you take pride in your work. What is the importance of the quality of the materials you start your projects with?
It's everything. It's, if you don't look at the materials before you start and you don't pick out the choice ones, that your job is just not there. You have to look at it. You have to look at, when you put something together, how does it work with the next piece?
And I see that in yourself, and that's the whole. Along with the title craftsmanship, the next word should be pride. And if you're working with good material to start,
right,
your project is already set to go down the road of success.
Correct.
Right.
I agree.
And so. You've been here, you've been purchasing lumber here long enough, you've been working with our products, and we strive to be a dependable supplier of a quality hardwood product.
You are.
And thank you. And you know how hard the family works to achieve that.
Right.
So, look around, John, and you are versed in our product line as well as any of our salespeople.
Okay.
We used some red oak. We used some maple on our ceiling treatments. I know one kind of catches your fancy is that cherry coffered ceiling we did.
Yeah, I love cherry.
And some of the products we use there. We started with some dimensional stock. We used the old pencil mold corner.
Yeah.
We introduced a crown molding that had a little bit of a round over pencil appearance to it. But one of the nicest elements of that ceiling, I think, is the cherry, sometimes referred to as cherry bead board, tongue and groove with a center bead joined together. It creates the beads.
Yeah.
But you still like that ceiling the best?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I like that one. I like them all. It was really, you did a great job in designing them, and even the ceiling in here, I just like it.
Yeah,
it's just nice to see the stuff where a homeowner can come in and take a look at this and say, I can do this.
And that's going to be part of the importance of this. I don't dare call it a facility because it has a life of its own on this big facility. It's going to be a workshop. It's going to be a studio where we're going to inform and educate and interview folks like yourself. But this has been a cool project. This has been a cool project. I'm like you, and I've been asked, what do you like most about it? I like it as a whole.
I do too. Right.
I really enjoy it as a whole. So, you know, times force us to change. And in the approaching 62 years here at 7060 Quarry Road, the business has changed in a number of different ways. You know, you and I come from a time, and you mentioned it earlier today, that you remember coming here, walking into the old front of the mill shop, had the A-frames with some of the moldings in it, and it was a cash and carry kind of deal. Right. Yeah. You came here, bought it, you hauled it home. You know, so at some point we added a delivery service. You know, now we have 5 or 6 trucks and however many small vans on the road. The availability and the ease of purchasing now. You know yourself. We're a phone call away. Call in for a will call order, or if you're on sitting at home at 10 o'clock at night, go to the website, you place your order online, come in here at 8:30 in the morning, and it's ready, pulled, and ready for you to take and go to the job site. You know, so a lot of aspects on availability have changed. We like to think one thing that hasn't changed is dependability. Right. How do you see that? What do you see as being the biggest change, and what has stayed the same that is important to you?
Well, I would say staying the same is the fact that you back everything. For us, it's important. If something's not right or is there a problem, I know that I can call you on the phone and it's corrected that day. And one of the services that we use a lot is your outdoor salesman. I can call up, for example, if I call Derek Donatelli, I know I can count on him talking to the homeowner, helping and guiding him through the whole project, and then also getting the list of materials and a pricing, everything set up. It makes it easy for us as a contractor.
Yeah, and that's
not only Derek, you have a whole group of salesmen.
Yeah, and
that's particularly who I use.
You know, and I've witnessed that trait being passed on. I mean, you know, Richard and Howard, you know the guys they were, and they weren't happy unless you were happy. Right. And that has been passed on, and we try and achieve that every day. Not only have things changed here, but things throughout the industry have changed. You know, we could put a balloon around it and say, what's changed most? I know one of the first things that's come to my mind is regulations. Right. You know, is it more difficult today to build a house than it was 25 years ago?
Yes, but everything's been for the better. At first you want to fight it, but when you look at it, the safety issues are better. The things that we have to do to make it a great house, I mean, with the inspectors and everything, I just think we've done a lot better job at it now. It's better for the homeowner and the consumer. And that's very true. You wonder why sometimes things are implemented, and you scratch your head and you say, well, a year or two down the road, you could see,
right? It shows why it was implemented. Have you noticed a change or a shift in the consumers for different types of products and services?
Yes, and all as the new products come out, that'll be the new fad, and that's what we're installing all the time. It seems like that, and that's great because we're always putting new floors in or new wall treatments and new ceiling treatments.
And I know, I know that you have, you've installed thousands of floors over the years. And recently here we have seen the white oak and the hickory and the character hickory. It's going out of here as fast as we can manufacture it.
Right.
And so is that a design trend? Is it a value trend? You know, we've seen over the course of the years, one of the big influencers over the years has been the kitchen cabinet manufacturers.
Right.
I'm going back 20, 25 years. Everything was maple. Everything was blonde, you know. And now here we are today with the live sawn white oak. I mean, it's very popular. A little more to the rustic side. The antique oak flooring, again. But you get into the select grade white oak, and it's furniture grade quality wood products.
Yes.
And whether you like that neutral soft color that it has, or whether you want to enhance it with a stain, it's a very finisher friendly wood.
And it's a stable floor.
And yes, and very stable also. So
I have a favorite, and I love quarter saw and white oak and quarter saw and red oak floors. They just look so flat and so beautiful when they're done. And it's not something that we do all the time. That's probably why I like it too.
You know, and you mentioned it, and I want to expound upon it a little bit. You being a furniture maker and appreciating the old tools and the old furniture, and there was a time in our American history when not all of the furniture, but a lot of the furniture, especially a lot of the handmade furniture, was made out of a quarter sawn white oak or a quarter sawn red oak. Those old boys weren't dumb.
Right.
They were putting time and effort into creating a piece of art. And they knew that white oak is good, red oak is good.
Right.
But when you start talking about stability, you go to the quarter sawn red oak or the quarter sawn white oak.
Right.
And through the sawing technique and changing the growth lines, shortening the growth lines, both of those products in the quarter sawn family become more stable.
Yeah. That's my favorite floor to put down. It's just perfect when it's finished. It just looks
character, stability, durability.
Right.
It has all of those properties. Right.
Right.
Well, that's cool, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's a subtle difference. But it can be a game changer too. Yeah. All right, so now that things are complete here, and we're here at Studio 3B, and you're off to your next project, or are you taking some time off?
No, I'm always on a project. It makes you.
Now wait a minute.
I'm going to have my knee fixed. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. All right. So that's a project that we don't even want to go into.
That's right.
But there was you took some time and you went to the East Coast, right?
Yes, my daughter had twins.
That's right. Yeah. So you got to see the family.
Right. I got to see.
Everybody's doing good over there.
Everybody's doing good. Yeah.
Johnny, we've talked about a lot today. We've covered a lot of ground in the last 8 months. All right.
Right.
We appreciate you here at Baird Brothers very much so. And I have to say thanks.
Thank you for all the work.
It's been a great project, bud. Yeah. Appreciate it. Look forward to our next one.
Yeah, I do.
All right. You take care of yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time,